Tara, thanks for coming out too.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate the response and just coming out here. So being able to create a product, like, what was your vision? Like, obviously I've watched some of your stuff. Can you tell them a little bit about the Sleep Styler and how that kind of came to be, being like a softer product that you could sleep in, basically curl your hair overnight or for a few hours?
Sure. So I had a fantasy, and my fantasy was to be able to shower at night, which I prefer, and then wake up with my hair already dried and styled. So I saw online tutorials about how to do this with socks. Didn't work. I looked online to see if something like that existed, so it had to be absorbent because my hair, if I went to bed with it wet, was still damp in the morning and just a big old mess, and I would have to just wash it all over again and start over. So, it would take me an hour to kind of blow out my hair at night and curl it and everything, and at the time I had 2 little kids. So mostly I wore my hair in a bun every day. And I started thinking about this problem in my mind and thinking about the fact that when I would braid my daughter's hair when it was wet and I would take the braid out like a day later, she had that wave. Her hair is normally like pin straight. And I was like, whatever shape the hair is in when it goes from wet to dry is the shape it would stay. I don't know why this seemed novel to me. This is just a wet set that people would do in the 50s with those pink, foam and plastic rollers. Except those were uncomfortable to sleep in. So I started thinking about absorbent fabrics. I went to the fabric district in LA and tried everything absorbent there. And it turns out of all of the different ones, bamboos and cottons, the man-made microfiber is the most absorbent. And then I thought about the shape it needed to be, the diameter. Turns out 1.5 inches is the right size for a curling iron for a reason. That makes the sort of big bombshell curl. So I just kind of slowly started putting all this together. How can I get it to stay? It needs a strap. How's the strap going to be held in place? It's got to be something that won't kind of press into you or hurt you while you're sleeping. So I did 20 different prototypes, essentially, and learned to sew in the process because I did not previously know how to sew. And now I made my daughter's Halloween costume. So that was a useful skill to have. And once I got it down, and then, kind of worked with my own hair as the learning curve. Back then, my hair was really long and brown. So once I sort of had it, I went on Kickstarter. So I'm a big fan of Kickstarter. I had never done anything like that before. This was all new to me, so I made a video.
Did you make it yourself, or did you have somebody else help you shoot it?
I had a friend help me shoot it,
okay.
And but the video is everything on the Kickstarter. And we made a website and just did all that, just kind of scrambled through it all. And a week after my Kickstarter launched, I got a call from the casting agent.
That's amazing. So I know, if I read correctly, you generated $75,000. Was that through the Kickstarter, or was that through the offer?
The Kickstarter was $50,000. So our goal was $10,000 in 30 days. So we got $50,000 in the 30 days, and then in the months after that, we got another $25,000.
Okay. No, can you guys give her a hand? That's amazing. The Kickstarter. Running a Kickstarter campaign is definitely not easy. I'm sure that
no, and it takes a lot of pre-campaign work.
Yes. How many months did you do this? Because I know we've worked with people that we literally helped them set up like 5 or 6 months in advance.
It was 3 months in advance.
Okay. Because we always suggest at least 3 months.
Yeah.
People are like, I got this set up. Like, I started a profile. It doesn't work like that, though, right?
No, you've got to get an email list. You got to get
exactly.
interest generated.
Yeah, and that's awesome. How many people were you able to generate? Were you generating your email list through other things ahead of that, or how are you trying to get that built?
No, we just kind of organically built it from scratch. I didn't even personally have a Facebook before any of this. I'm not a huge social media person.
It's okay, though. It's
so
okay.
to kind of, but the social media is everything when it comes to a Kickstarter.
I've seen so many different tutorials with like YouTubers and stuff, like putting your product out there. Like for me, like people that know me, I have extremely thick hair. It's like horse's
so
hair.
lucky.
Like I'm like, oh. People are like, oh, you're so lucky. I'm like, there's that word luck again. I'm like, really? No, it's beautiful hair, but it takes hours for me to curl, right? Yeah. And so, but you have 2 different sets, right? One with like smaller curls. Like, what would go more for like my hair? Versus...
Oh, the long one for sure. The large one for long hair. So it's 8 inches long, so the hair wraps around it and it never overlaps. Because if it overlapped, it wouldn't dry in that spot. And then the microfiber also sort of polishes it, so it's really smooth, and then it doesn't smell, like burnt hair from the curling iron. It smells like the shampoo in the morning. And then you just kind of arrange them. But even I've gotten my 7-year-old to use them, and she can't even have like a button on her when she's sleeping, So I use the minis on her for shorter hair, and I just kind of arrange them like a pillow style behind her head. So and there's memory foam inside, so they compress and they kind of mold to your head as you're sleeping.
How long do you technically have to leave them in for? I know you said it's to sleep.
Depends on how thick your hair is, and depends on how wet it was. It shouldn't be like sopping wet out of the shower.
Just right out of the shower.
I usually have people air dry it until it's damp, not kind of dripping wet.
Okay.
And then wrap it.
So you had gone through Kickstarter first, and then people discovered you that way, and then your turn to step into the tank, basically. I remember this episode because she literally walks in there with the curlers in her hair. I'm like, this is fascinating. So, like, what was like your thought? Like coming through those doors, like, what was your thought? Like, did you even think about the show before, like, you go in with this Kickstarter? Was that even in your thoughts?
No, most of the TV at our house was Cartoon
Netflix?
Network or Disney Channel or Nickelodeon. That was pretty much the rotation. So no, it wasn't something I'd watched normally. But every other person said to me, like, have you ever thought about going on a show called Shark Tank? And I was like,
what's that?
And my response was always, no, I've been in business for a month. They need someone with a serious track record, or they're going to give it one of their, like, you're a product, not a business, or something like that. So no, I had not given it any thought. But of course, when they reached out to me, I recognized it as an incredible opportunity, and they said, we're about to wrap season 8, so we would need you to do this like within a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of got fast-tracked through the audition process. It's like a 12-step process.
Is it true? I've just read this, but your episode was one of the fastest?
It was the shortest time to a deal.
To a deal, okay.
Yeah.
What was it, like 16 minutes? Or?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Just give her a hand. To not really knowing what Shark Tank was, to be able to stepping in there. So from that process of actually going in there, and Lori was the investor in that. Did you receive any other offers in the tank, or was she just like in?
No, she just went for it.
You just went for it. That's amazing. On that process, like, what does it look like from there? You're like, oh man, I'm in, like, and then all of a sudden this process comes like rather quickly. I'm sure she put you on QVC or introduced there. Like, what did it look like from there? Because I know you've generated a lot for your business, and like I'd love to hear a little bit more on like the growth process, like what happened there to, I know it's a lot, but there to like being able to build team members, media, like how did that look like and feel to you?
At the beginning it was really chaotic. So the Shark Tank producers tell you it's up to you if you want to ramp up inventory, but we're not going to take any responsibility because, many of these won't ever air. And if it does air, we have no idea what the response is going to be. So if you want to invest a lot of money in more inventory, that's up to you. So I ordered 4,000 sets of the rollers in preparation for the show. And we wound up doing, I think by midnight, so it aired at 9 o'clock at night or something, and by midnight we'd done $1 million in sales. And so
what was your thought then? Were you just like,
it was elation, but it was sheer panic. So I was on the phone with my IT guy saying, you need to, within minutes when we saw what was happening, I said, you need to put something in a huge banner right on the landing site that says back ordered 3 months, because it takes 3 months to make it. Because it's, if you've seen my rollers, they're blue, and the dyeing process of microfiber takes 3 weeks, and you can't rush it. And then these things are sewn by people. And I can tell you, having sewn them myself with the little end caps that get sewn on, they're a pain. So the process of just making them, and of course, the ships take 3 weeks to get into Long Beach. So we even flew them, you know, to try to just cut down on some of the time. But, you know, the orders just kept coming in, and we kept trying to tell people, but there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of angst. There was a lot of anger from people about the weight. And I felt so personally responsible, you know, that people were unhappy, and we tried to do whatever we could to, you know, bump up to like FedEx to get it like overnighted as soon as it hit California. And it was just, I mean, looking back, the whole thing was great, but at the time, I mean, I wasn't sleeping for a really long time.
Do you sleep now?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. And from there, like, so how long has it been genuinely since that happened? Like, where are you at now in your business? 'Cause you've
It's
been in
licensed to a group called All Star,
Okay.
the home of the Snuggie. So now I don't do any day-to-day stuff except like occasionally go to QVC. A big takeaway in general that I would do differently in the future is I would have free shipping. Back when I did this, I charged people, I don't know, $6 for shipping. I think it wound up costing like $5.35 for the USPS. People were freaking devastated that they had to pay for shipping. And I guess I didn't realize that this was something you needed to work into the price of your product. But in the day and age of Amazon Prime, people think that that shipping is a cost-free service. So.
But on the side of the position of being on local news shows, Tara, I know that you got on like San Diego shows and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've done the Fox Morning Show twice.
Okay. And what was the results, benefits from that?
Yeah, you always get a bump in sales every time you do something like that, even if it's 7 in the morning, and even if it just kind of, you know, you wonder if anyone's watching your 45-second segment. Don't say no to any of that. And a nice unexpected thing has been connecting with and mentoring entrepreneurs, which I was kind of surprised that entrepreneurs wanted me to mentor them, because I'm not a business person. And I got lucky, I think, with my rollers. I think it just sort of touched a nerve for women. But, you know, as a product I made for me, it turned out a lot of other people had the same fantasy, I guess. But it has been really fun, though, hearing other people's products and asking me things that I guess I did know the answer to, it turned out. You know, at what point do I apply for the patent? IP is a real big one I get questions about. And at what, you know, do I go to, how do I get a prototype made? And then what do I do from there? So it's been really great helping people.
That's amazing. No, it's always the power of like being able to help other people get to their next success. I thrive off of that. Like being able to say like, yes, I know how to help you position yourself through this video. We know how to, where you should be sharing it, where the eyeballs should be coming from, who are you marketing it to? All those elements that people don't really think about, but knowing able to be able to help people do that, go through that experience is just so rewarding in the end. So that's amazing. And thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys taking time to check this out. For those of you that feel inspired, want to subscribe and ring the bell, go ahead and do so, and definitely check out more videos just like this one over here. Tap the screen, and I'll see you next time.